out. We're back to go ahead and install this trigger assembly. And let's go ahead and get started here. Just an overview. Here's your trigger. Here's your hammer. Here's your disconnect. You get a disconnect spring, trigger spring, hammer spring, a hammer, and a trigger pin. And I've cut off just a little piece of threaded rod. You can use a smooth rod, you can use a dowel rod, as long as it's the same diameter. And it's just going to be a slave pin, a temporary slave pin. And I'll show you what I'm going to use that for. It's just to make the assembly easier. Now guys, this would be much easier if we had this affixed to the vise, but I'm not set up with this camera to video. So we're just going to do it right here on the bench. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. First thing, let's go ahead and take our trigger and our trigger spring, and it's going to be oriented in this position with this bend right here. It's going to rest under this spot right here. Also guys, if you want to, this is time you can actually go ahead and polish the surfaces of your hammer and your trigger if you'd like to. That's not part of this video. It has been done to this. All you got to do is spread that apart, and it's going to go together just like that. So the next part we're going to do is take the hammer spring and the hammer, and we're going to put it over its ears as well. I'm going to face this towards the back. It's going to rest in here. And it's going to go like this. Now let's take our disconnect. It will be oriented this position. And if you want to polish the sides a little bit, smooth them out, you can. It's up to you. You do not have to do it. Take your disconnect spring. Has a recess right here. The spring's going to go right here. And this is where we're going to use the slave pin that I made. All that is slave pin's going to do is hold this together and make it so much easier during the assembly process. Wait just a second, guys. Let me get this pushed in here. I'll insert the slave pin. Just need a little punch just to kind of seat it in there good. We'll make sure that this is in and is moving properly. So we're good there. We do have a really high polish on that. And this next part's going to be fairly simple and straightforward, guys. The installation of your trigger and hammer. You'll need these two pins. And we're going to go from the left side to the right side. When we're installing these pins, we're going to install the groove side last, the smooth side first. So let me show you how that's going to look. We're going to go ahead and put the trigger assembly in. Let me get in a position. Hopefully y'all can see this well. Drop that in. Your trigger spring is going to be facing forward. And you can see that slave pin right there. We're going to take one of your trigger hammer pins. They're the same diameter. And we're going to start feeding it through. Now guys, it's a good time to have, let me just set that down for a second. Hammer set up with a nylon head. Sometimes you'll have to tap these in. This one should go once we get everything depressed and lined up properly. if we need to. We will use that nylon hammer. Flush, got everything in properly. And the slave pin fell out, so that's out of our way. Sure everything's moving free. Everything looks good. Next step is actually to install your hammer. Also polish the surfaces on this hammer, here and in here. This is going to go in like this. Sorry guys, trying to do this through the camera. Get your hammer forward. Again. Get your pin started. Smooth side first. And let's get that D10 out of the way where it doesn't scratch anything up. And you may have to use your nylon hammer again. This is a lot easier if you have it in your bench block to go ahead and do those procedures. So guys, I highly recommend get your bench block, bice this up. Make your life a whole lot easier. Okay, now we're going to cock this. We do not want this hammer to hit. You can use a block to go in here that will stop the travel of this hammer going forward. But I'm just going to hold it in place. I'm just going to make sure everything is engaging properly and releasing properly. You can check your trigger pull at this time. Tell you what, the easiest thing to do is get you a one-piece match trigger drop in here, or drop-in set. So much easier, and you get an awesome trigger pull. This trigger feels pretty good now. We polished it, so that does help. And that's where we're at on this. The only thing we got left to do is install our safety, our selector switch here, which is safe and fire. We also will install a detenting spring for that, and that's going to be held in place by our grip. We also be installing our trigger guard, and that will be the end of this process for this lower build for this lower receiver part. We still need to go ahead and fit the buttstock on, and we also need to torque down to spec the castle nut. And that's all we got left, guys. So let's go ahead and we'll end this right here. And when we get back, the next video will be installation of your safety selector and your trigger guard.